The reality is that as much as I want to help as many people as I can, most people will fail. That's the harsh truth, and I've come to terms with it. And I say that, with a heavy heart, but at the end of the day, I need to be realistic, not just about the content I put out, but a lot of the other people that are putting out content. There's been years and years of people putting out quality content, whether that's for free or paid, and there's still people making those same mistakes. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why most people will fail and how you can position yourself to actually succeed over what will be the biggest generational wealth transfer ever. Like, these next couple of years is massive, and it's already happening. So if we can look at the patterns and see how we can adapt as quick as possible to, I guess, make those financial gains. The financial stuff, as I've explained in previous podcasts and episodes, go definitely check those out, is that the financial is linked with your emotional and spiritual stuff. So as much as I don't want to sit here and talk about money all the time, the reality is that they're also interconnected, and I talk about the flywheel. So definitely go check out those videos that I've made about happiness, passion, and how that's all linked with your emotion and spirituality, really. But that's what we're going to talk about on this episode. Hey guys, my name's Ravi Sharma and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi. If you are interested in subscribing because you like the content, then definitely do that, whether that's on the YouTube channel, if you're watching this, and if you are listening to my lovely voice, then definitely leave a review for the podcast, because I think your words are really big oxygen for this podcast to keep moving and keep reaching new people, right? At the end of the day, there's some way the YouTube algorithm or the podcast algorithm found you to me or me to you, and so let's start sharing that stuff to more people, because a lot of people need to hear this. There's so many of you that are listening to this sort of stuff, and it's been over a year now that I've been doing the YouTube channel, and I want to start seeing some more action. Okay, I want to start seeing some of those wins. So I've got the Facebook group. Start posting on there. I did this based on this podcast episode or this YouTube episode, and this is what I learned. And I think that's going to start helping a lot of other people to start taking that, that chance or that action for themselves. I'm not saying come on board as a client or anything like that. I'm saying for yourself to start going, hey, is this actually possible? I'm listening to some guy on YouTube and he's done well and he's got this, he's got that. Is it realistic for me to do that? And I think when other people are talking, it just becomes a bit more relatable. So very important. Now, the biggest thing that I want to talk about in this podcast is why most people will fail and how we can avoid it. But what I also see in the market in the next sort of 3 to 5 years, real estate, cryptocurrency, collectibles, and I guess the world economies and how things are changing. It's a bit weird, but I definitely want to cover that off as well. Now, all of these videos, obviously I put in a lot of research, a lot of time into those things. So if you want access to some of that research, more than what I share on YouTube at the moment, then definitely go check out the Patreon link in the description below. So I have a Patreon membership group now. It's a community where I can start having more connections with you guys and you get more access to me. I find that it's very difficult for us to have those conversations, whether that's YouTube comments, emails, and booking strategy sessions, because they get booked out like 6 weeks in advance, but you may want that help now. So there's a video on my YouTube channel. Definitely go check that out, which describes the difference between the membership tiers. I'm realistically bringing this out because I want to be connected with you more at a higher level, but then also be able to talk to you in more detail that doesn't sit with the YouTube algorithm, that, I don't need to share because I'm like, oh, okay, like when am I going to share this? And is it too oversharing? In that community, I'm sharing everything in terms of the content that if you want to absorb that, there's so much more. It's a daily basis, right? There's the Q&As that will never come to YouTube, so you can start learning from other people as well. So definitely, if you want to consider upgrading your mindset, and start taking action during what I think will be the most amazing time, if you're on the right side of it, then definitely go check out the Patreon community. Now, the reality is that a lot of people fear change. And I find that to be really interesting. When I go back to even schooling days or my first job, it's like people are indoctrinated to think a particular way because someone told them to. And then after they get taught that, they continue thinking the same way. Like there's not even like 2% of your mind to go, hey, is there a better way to do this? And fundamentally, like I was sitting there, when I was discussing or at least researching for this, I was discussing with my partner and I was saying to her, I was like, I think the reason why I find a bit more success right? Even if it's 1% more success than I did a year ago, is because I'm always adapting. I'm looking at what's happening in the market, not from a competitive standpoint to go, oh, look at that buyer's agent. Oh, look at that YouTube. No, I don't do that, right? Because I think there's two ways to grow and be the best, I suppose, of yourself, is if you go out there and you build the biggest building, right? Gary Vee talks about this. So he goes, if you can go out there and you want to really achieve success, you go out there and you build the biggest building. Or in most cases, right, because there's so much insecurity in this space, like I see it across the industry, like, shit talking about other people and what they're doing. I get it on the YouTube comments, oh, look at this guy, blah, 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 all that sort of rubbish. It's coming from a place of insecurity, right? And that is going, well, I can't be that, I can't get there because of my limiting beliefs or my insecurity to do it. So I'm going to go and rip down all the other buildings so my building appears to be bigger. Okay, that is the culture that I think we are now growing up with, and I'm not saying everyone's like that, but a large majority of people are like that, especially when they're coming into the business world and they're doing, real estate or YouTube or things like that. So just something to keep in mind, that I'm definitely in the camp where I would much rather focus in my own lane and try and help as many people. It's a fulfilling, actual concept to be able to go out there and help someone who's going out there and kicking goals for themselves. Because I can go and make money. There's like a million ways I can do that. But why do I choose to do it this way, right? Why do I choose to go the extra mile? Like look at something like Patreon, right? I don't make a large amount of money from there, right? But I feel like it's very important as part of that ecosystem, because I'm trying to go, how do I connect with my audience at scale? Because there's people that are constantly emailing me and going, Ravi, you don't have a strategy session available. I'm paying, $300, $400, $500 to talk to you, but you don't have one for 6 weeks. I need help now. And that's where that community is there to go, well, I needed to find something to sit there so that I'm optimizing my time, but I'm also being able to help people at the level that I can, right? Because I've only got 24 hours in a day and I like to have a balance, right? So that's something important. So when people don't like to change, this is where we get caught up. We are still using, and I've spoken about people, I've spoken to people about this topic where people are still going to the library to do research for their assignments. Okay. Now, whether it's a library, whether it's an assignment, it's a metaphor, okay? So people are still using the same tactics of what they were using 15 to 20 years ago, i.e. going to the library to go pick up books to do a research paper. Whereas today we have Google, okay? So that is optimized, that is faster, and will present better results because I can do things at a bigger scale and it's quicker. But people are still stuck doing this. So effectively, the way that I see people doing real estate, the way they're investing, it blows my mind, but I understand why. Is because they find it very difficult to adapt, okay? So they're going out there and saying, oh, well, I'm going to use these old tools, hoping that I get the old results from 20 years ago in today's market. There is so much different, right? So much of a difference between what is happening now and what has ever happened, okay? Look at just lockdowns in general. Would you have ever thought we would be in a place where you have a lockdown, you have police, going up and down the street to keep you at home? That would have scared you 2 years ago. It seems normal now, I'm not saying that I agree with it, and I'm not saying that I don't agree with it. At the end of the day, it's our mindset of how do we go and step forward and be adaptive, okay? Anyone who adapts wins. Full stop. Right, I don't care what it is, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your real estate, journey, whether it's investing journey, whether it's in your relationships. You continue making the same shitty old mistake, your partner's going to be like, mate, piss off, right? You need to adapt. You need to learn. But the thing is, people stick to what they've believed to have worked because they don't want to make mistakes. They're scared. So you might be one of these people and it might be hitting home for you. So let this be the trigger for you to start changing those things. If I'm coming out here and saying, hey, you need to do it this way or you need to do it that way, and that challenges your inner beliefs, don't automatically go, no, I'm not doing it. Because that's what it feels like when I sometimes jump on a strategy session. I'm like, okay, so talk to me about your journey so far with investing. Okay, Ravi, I came across your channel about 6 months ago. I watched all your videos and this is what I want to do. And I'm like, so you've watched the videos, but what you're saying you want to do is a disconnect between what you're watching and learning to what you want to do. So then we go through that process, and it's interesting because we are still going, I know this works, but I'm still going to stick to what worked before because I think I can avoid mistakes. Okay. And it's that risk appetite. Are we building those investing muscles? The same thing happened from when you're at school, you get told what to do. And we like being told what to do. The school bell rings, I get to go to this class, and then I go to this class, and then I go to this class. And then we get to uni, and it's a bit different, right? Because there's a bit more freedom. You don't have to go to as many classes. But then you go, okay, I still need to go here. I've got these assignments. Oh, and then I'm going to go get a job because then they tell me what to do. This is the time I need to clock in. This is the time lunch is. And this is the time I need to leave, right, to go home. So it all seems like we're building ourselves up in a I guess a cocoon, right? In an economy, or I guess a community where we're going to get told what to do. And if someone doesn't tell me what to do, I have no idea what I'm going to do. So when we have this change, people get defensive, when we get someone thinking outside of the box and we say, hey, look, this is maybe not how we were taught, or this is not true, right? And you start facing those facts, people get defensive. They're like, no. This is testing my, beliefs that I've been indoctrinated to think about. And so I find that very interesting. So when we look at the people that will succeed are the people that are going out there and challenging those views, become adaptive and open to different thoughts. Some of the stuff I talk about on my videos, I've got people that are coming in from the real estate world, and then I start talking about cryptocurrency and they're like, I don't care about that. I don't want to know about that because that seems like a Ponzi scheme because it's fake. How do you know what the value of that thing is? And it goes up by 50%, a couple of weeks, then it goes down by 80%. I can't trust that. Now, there's a difference between trusting it, right, and thinking that's in line with your investing plan. But if you straight away go, no, I'm not investing in that, or I'm not even looking at that, who's that going to help? Bitcoin's going to do what it needs to do. The people, the rich people, or the ones that are out there investing in certain things, they're going to still do what they need to do. But for you need to start looking at yourself and go, why do I have such a defensive and negative outlook towards something new? And that's because over time, we've just become like that. And the safest way seems like right now is you buy a house, right? After you go to uni, you get a good job, and you do that for 30 years. And hopefully, in the process, you're happy doing what you do, working your job, getting told what to do. And then you get to retire on your super and your pension, and the government now tells you what to do. That's effectively what people think safety is. I think it's the complete opposite because I have no control in that environment. That to me was what at 21 and 22 I understood. I was like, hey, hold up. I didn't sign up for this. I did uni, I did school because, that was what I was supposed to do. Now I'm in my first job and now I've got my boss telling me what to do. And I'm realizing you can't be telling me what to do. You're a fake teacher, just like my uni lecturers and things like that, because you guys aren't doing what you thought was the right thing to do. You just went, hey, because everyone else did it, I'm going to do it too. Now I'm going to tell someone else that they have to do it too. And it didn't make sense to me to go and sit there and rely on an external body, being the government, to go, hey, in the last 30 years, you couldn't figure shit out yourself. So now you have to rely on the government dictating how much you get paid. And if inflation comes in, which is what we're experiencing right now, and we're going to experience in the next 5 to 10 years, I would be very, very concerned because the dollars we are making is significantly less. You look at Social Security and the amount that we make through Centrelink payments and things like that, we've lost 30% of our purchasing power. How is no one talking about that? And this is the reality of how more people are getting into poverty, but they don't even realize it because the dollars are just higher. But the fact is our purchasing power on a fiat-based currency is just devaluing itself. And then people complain and say, well, why are house prices going up? Our wages haven't grown. Put the dots on paper and start joining them, right? I try and talk as candid as possible, transparent as possible as well, sharing my journey as well. And I do that not so I can impress you and, flex and say, hey, look at me, look at what I've got. No, I'm showing you that it's possible. And look at me, I'm in a black t-shirt from Kmart, $3.75, right? I bought 6 of these the other day because I needed new ones. They don't have great quality, but, $3.75, what do you expect? I do that because that feels natural to me. This is me, right? I like being very comfortable. And so for me, it's about relatability. And I'm not here going out, flashy suit, look at my car and this and that. I could buy all those things, but it doesn't bring me happiness. It might bring you happiness, and that's different. I'm not saying those things are bad. I'm not saying, wearing Gucci or wearing a nice suit is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you really want to succeed, you got to find what's happiness defined for you, success defined for you. And most people are going to say it's a balance in life, and I want this, this, and this, and this. Okay, I can tell you the quickest way or the most definitive way to get there is by you using the extra hours outside of, going to the job that you hate. Outside of those hours, if you're using that and converting that to a side hustle, learning, investing, things like, memberships, courses, whatever it is, if you start investing in yourself, I'm telling you, you are the machine. But you've been taught that, I'm not good enough. I've just got to do this job, and you get happy with a 2-3%, increase on your pay. You probably get a promotion, in 2-3 years time, and that's what you're good for. No, you have so much more potential, and you just don't realize it. And the only person that gets affected negatively by that is you. So it's about time to start going, I need to challenge some of those thoughts. I need to live outside of this environment where everyone tells me that that's wrong, that's right, that's wrong, that's right. No. I'm going to figure that out myself. The next part is instant gratification. Okay, so have you thought about when you purchase those things, right? How that makes you feel? Envision it. Spend time. I've seen a few friends close to me, they've gone and bought a nice car, and I've gone, hey, cool, man. If that brings you happiness and that you like that, awesome. I mean, it's shitty now because you're in lockdown, but hey, I'm sure you can drive it at some point. And what they realize is after they've bought it 2, 3, 4 weeks later, hey, it doesn't feel the same anymore. Oh, okay. Well, now I've just got to fake it till I make it, until the next big car or the next big purchase. And this instant gratification of really figuring out, is this worth it for the time I put in to something I hate to then come into a car I can only drive for like half an hour? Is that really worth it? For some people, it is. And the important part in this is realizing that you are living on your own terms. You are living with what you think is going to bring you happiness, not the fact that, hey, I was thinking about buying a car, then I get to Saturday morning and some idiot on Facebook put up a picture with a ribbon on the top of a car and saying, hey, oh my God, I just bought my first car. I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm saying the process of you thinking that is what you want when in reality it's not, that's the bad part. That's the negative part of this process. And we're using cars in this example. It's different for everyone. Could be a handbag, it could be a holiday, it could be anything. But the point is, you need to understand that instant gratification is instant, right? Nothing lasts forever. And so if you can start going, hey, you know what? I want those things. But if I delay that gratification even by 12 months, just 12 months, right? We've gone through what's almost halfway through July now, and you've gone through 7 months of the year, and it doesn't feel like that. You can still remember what New Year's Eve was like, right? I'm pretty sure everyone was at home because we had lockdowns. But just by delaying certain things by a little bit, I'm telling you now, as a 21 and 22-year-old, I still went and did, the Europe trips. I still did all that. But I just put a little bit aside into building my machine. And I say this often, build the machine, because you're going to thank yourself 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. And now, right now, the reason why it becomes super attractive is because you have asset price inflation. You have everything working in your favor because you can't go on holidays. What are you going to do? You are basically having the universe tell you now is the time. And if you don't take that chance, can you imagine the sort of regret you'd have in 3 years from now? That scares me. That is the only part that scares me in this entire process is, am I doing enough to help you guys get prompted to go, how do I step to the next level? That's why I'm spending more of my time to go, hey, I want to build a Patreon community so I can help you guys have more access to me so we can start having more conversations. This is what I want to create. And, as a result of listening to the wrong people, you're going to get the wrong results. If they don't align with your strategy, with what your goals are, if they don't understand those things, how can you take advice from them? It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't provide any advice. Any financial advice on this channel, don't provide it. Whether it's podcasts, whether it's on my content, on socials, Instagram, all the YouTube videos, don't provide it. Even in the Patreon community, what we're talking about is going, hey, I'm suggesting that there are other things to look at. We need to start paying attention to it. And I'm going to be that prompt for you to go, hey, by the way, did you check up on that? Did you do what you were supposed to do? So when someone keeps, jabbing you and saying, hey, you need to keep looking at it and keep accountable, suddenly it's going to become in your mind to go, I need to keep myself accountable because tomorrow Ravi won't be there, right? That's the reality. So when we start listening to the wrong people, you're going to get the wrong results. Financial planners, in my mind, blow the freaking living sense out of me when all they suggest is stuff that gives them the best benefit. In fact, it's not even just financial planners. It's anyone in this industry. You got accountants, real estate agents, buyer's agents. They are all going, how do I put out information to this person to convince them that you need to use my services and buy into this product? At the end of the day, they get paid from those things, right? Now, in my case, I've been very transparent about the fact that, hey, I'm a buyer's agent. I don't advertise it as aggressively as I did when I just started YouTube because, the business was getting established. Now people are coming through because they see the value that a buyer's agent like myself can bring, right? Our company, Search Property, you can check our website out. I don't push it, right? And nor do I come out here and say, hey, by the way, guys, real estate's going up and it's going up forever. Right now is the best time to buy and all you should buy is real estate. I don't say that. I say the opposite. And I really question people that are out there saying, this is the only asset you should be buying. How can you say that? Like, if you literally look at the returns of some of the other assets, now that I've been involved with other things and diversifying and listening to people, talking to people, really smart people out there doing amazing things. And when I'm starting to leverage those education, pillars, books, podcasts, and I'm just going, wow, this is interesting. And there's so much happening and it excites me. But that's because I like the change. I like to adapt. I like to learn. We need to start getting into that environment. And I'm glad you're here. We're talking about this. You're listening to this. I hope you've listened all the way through. There's a large portion of people that won't even listen to this point. So congratulations. You're already setting yourself apart from the people that haven't listened to this point. Now, if you want to take action, I can help you. There's certain things that I offer that can help you. But if you do that yourself and you take accountability for yourself, amazing. Go and do it, right? That's why personal trainers exist. But there's also people that go out there to the gym and they do it themselves. Who gets the better results? Well, it comes down to a personal choice. I've seen people who can't go to the gym. Like myself, I find it very difficult. But if I had to really push for it, I'll go do it. But could I get better results with a personal trainer? Yeah, I definitely guarantee that I would. So that's something else to consider. In terms of, I guess, insecurities, it goes back down to people listening to the wrong people because they have their insecurities, and you got to understand that. Where is this coming from? Why do I talk about investing and how it, gives you a positive emotional and spiritual change? Because I went through it. I went through not having any money, right? Going and working hard, investing, building the machine and doing all that. And that translated to a better emotional headspace. That translated to me having more time to think about my passions. And now I'm here trying to help you guys. And that brings me fulfillment. How did I start this process? It was a financial backed process, right? So that entire circle, right, has come full circle to now allow me to talk about it in such an optimistic way. Now, I'm sure there's people out here that have had a negative experience with, say, something like real estate. I talked to a lot of you guys that have said, I had a really shit experience. I bought a unit and now it's like 200K less, or, I did this development, it didn't work out. That negative sort of connotation to a past experience is what holds people back. But you can't listen to those guys that have already had those bad experiences. They're holding you back from trying and learning about it. I would say test everything. If I say Bitcoin's good, go and find reasons why they're not good and figure out if that makes sense for you. So that's something else to really understand. My final point in all of this is we need to start focusing on what is happening now, because things are changing very quickly, and the facade of certain things that are popping up, and that's what our focus is going to. I'm saying don't think about those things. You need to look in the opposite direction. People go, okay, lockdowns are happening. Lockdowns, oh no, I can't go to I can't go to retail, can't go see my friends. That's what 99% of people are focusing on. I'm going, if we have a lockdown, what does that mean for X, Y, and Z? And when you start having this shift, right? And this is what I'm trying to do in the mastermind. It's going, how do we have this shift? Because as soon as you have the shift, oh man, you're looking at things very differently. And that's what excites me. So in this next exponential age and change that we're going to see in the next 5-10 years is going to be one that a lot of people will be able to retire quite comfortably, and they'll have a lot of money to retire on if you're on the right side of it. The other side, the flip side, is that a lot of people will get priced out of all of these markets and never be able to come back, right? So if you don't buy, say, something like real estate, if you don't have assets, you will probably get priced out to a point where you don't even have the choice. It's like if you started building a property portfolio 10, 15 years ago, right? I started about 7 years ago, but 10, 15 years ago, probably in a point where you can go, hey, I could probably do this really well for the next 5 years and get 20, 30, 40 properties. Now to do 20, 30, 40 properties, very difficult. So in 5 years' time, the possibility of having 3, 4, and 5 properties, very difficult. So this is something to understand, realize, and adapt. If you guys need the extra help, Patreon. That's where I'm going and putting a lot of my energy, a lot of the research, a lot of the conversations I want to have at greater detail is happening there. So definitely go check that out if you want. If you don't enjoy it after a month, you can leave, but I'm sure with the benefit and the value that I'm bringing on there is going to be massive. If you want a step-by-step, tutorial as to how you buy real estate in Australia, there's an online course, Confusion to Clarity. It takes you from the investing mindset, understanding that process, to going, how do I purchase? What are my next steps? And so that this entire process that becomes so foreign, or was so foreign, becomes very easy to understand. You're like, oh, okay, cool. I got to get a loan. I got to go do this. I got to get a conveyancer. And then I got to do my taxes. How do I manage property? So all of that, Confusion to Clarity. With the strategy sessions, I'm not sure when you're listening to this, but we're 6 weeks in advance booked out. So I'm super grateful that people are taking that opportunity. But that's why I created, Patreon, so that we can start having more of those communications earlier and at a more regular basis. Even as part of this, video, I do a lot of research, and I can't share all of it with you, but I can now start sharing it on that platform because that allows for it. So that's where I'm going with my energy. Really want to start getting more content out to you guys at a more, faster pace and regular, because I think the world is moving. There's things happening every day and there's opportunities in that. So rather than sort of going, I don't want to listen, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, let's start adapting to those changes because it's very, very exciting. Thanks guys for listening all the way through. If you're new here, subscribe and definitely leave a review because it means the world to me, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks guys.